Earth's seat was reserved before humans even knew about. Space Captain Lee Tae-ho stared at the stars through the bridge window of the UES Harmony. 3 months had passed since they left Earth's solar system. This was humanity's first real journey into deep space. The ship was not big, but it was fast and strong. Lee felt proud to command the first human crew to travel so far from home. "Captain, I'm getting something strange," said Park So-min from her station. She was the ship's communications officer. Her voice sounded worried. "There's a signal coming from the third planet in this system." Lee walked over to her station. The Kepler 4e42 system was supposed to be empty. Their scans from Earth showed no signs of life here. Just 3 dead planets around a yellow star. "What kind of signal?" Lee asked. Park pressed some buttons on her screen. Strange sounds filled the bridge. It was not random noise. The pattern repeated every few seconds. "It's definitely artificial, Captain. Someone or something made this signal." Dr. Kim Woo-jin looked up from his workstation. He was the ship's scientist who studied old things and alien life. "That's impossible. Our deep space telescopes never saw anything here." "Play it again," Lee ordered. The signal played again. This time, Lee heard something familiar in the pattern. It reminded him of old math lessons from school, the way numbers followed each other in a special order. "It sounds like mathematics," said engineer Choi Da-eun. She was working on the ship's engine systems. "Like someone is counting prime numbers." Dr. Kim stood up quickly. "Prime numbers? Let me hear it again." They played the signal 5 more times. Dr. Kim's eyes grew wide. "Captain, this is definitely mathematics. But not just any math. This is advanced stuff. Quantum physics formulas." "Could it be from Earth?" asked Park. "No way," said Dr. Kim. "These formulas are too advanced. We just learned some of this math 10 years ago. But this signal? It's old. Very old." Lee felt his heart beat faster. "How old?" Dr. Kim worked on his computer for several minutes. "Captain, this signal has been broadcasting for at least 50,000 years, maybe longer." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stared at Dr. Kim. 50,000 years, Lee whispered. "But humans were still living in caves 50,000 years ago." "That's what makes this so strange," said Dr. Kim. "The math in this signal includes information about Earth's solar system, star charts that show exactly where Earth is located. But it was sent before humans even knew what stars were." Engineer Choi checked her instruments. "Captain, I'm detecting a large object near the signal source. It's huge." "How huge?" Lee asked. "About the size of Earth's moon," Choi said. Her voice was barely a whisper. "That's impossible," said Park. "We would have seen something that big from Earth." "Not if it was hidden behind the planet," said Choi. "Captain, I think we should go look at it." Lee thought carefully. They had enough fuel to investigate and still return to Earth. But this could be dangerous. If aliens built that thing, they might not be friendly. "Dr. Kim, what do you think?" Lee asked. "Captain, this could be the most important discovery in human history. We have to investigate." Lee nodded. "Choi, set course for the signal source, but keep our weapons ready." "Yes, Captain." The Harmony moved toward the signal. As they got closer, their screen showed something incredible. A massive space station floated in the darkness. It was shaped like a wheel with many spokes. Lights blinked along its surface in patterns that looked almost like a city. "My God," whispered Park, "it's beautiful." The station was clearly very old, but it still looked strong and well built. Strange symbols covered its outer walls. They glowed with soft blue light. "Captain," said Choi, "the station is scanning us." "Are we in danger?" Lee asked. "I don't think so. The scans feel gentle, like it's just trying to learn about us." Suddenly the signal changed. Instead of mathematics, they heard something that made everyone freeze. It was music. Human music. But not any song they knew. It was older than any music on Earth, but it was definitely human. "How is this possible?" asked Park. Dr. Kim was working frantically on his computer. "Captain, The station is sending us docking instructions. In what language? Lee asked. That's the strange part. It's in Korean. Perfect Korean. But also in English, Chinese, Arabic, and dozens of other Earth languages, including some languages that died out thousands of years ago. Lee felt a chill run down his back. It knows we're from Earth. More than that, Captain, said Dr. Kim. It's been waiting for us. The docking instructions were simple and clear. The station had a special port that was exactly the right size for their ship. It was as if someone had built it specifically for human ships. Captain, said Choi, should we dock? Lee looked around at his crew. They were all scared, but also excited. This was why they came to space, to discover new things, to find out if humans were alone in the universe. Yes, Lee said. We dock. The Harmony moved slowly toward the station. As they got closer, lights turned on to guide them to the docking port. The station's systems worked perfectly with their ship. It was like putting a key into a lock. When they docked, the station's computer sent them a message. It appeared on their screens in perfect Korean. Welcome home, children of Earth. We have been waiting for you. Lee felt his hands shake as he read the message. Children of Earth? Who calls humans that? Dr. Kim was reading more messages from the station. Captain, there's more. The station says it's called the Galactic Assembly Nexus. It's some kind of government building for alien civilizations. And they were expecting us? Asked Park. Not just expecting us, said Dr. Kim. Captain, according to this, Earth has a reserved seat in their government, a seat that's been empty for 50,000 years waiting for humans to claim it. Lee sat down in his captain's chair. His mind was spinning. How could Earth have a seat in an alien government? We just invented space travel 20 years ago. I don't know, Captain, said Dr. Kim. But according to these records, someone visited Earth a very long time ago. They studied early humans and decided we would someday join the galactic community. And they've been waiting for us all this time? Asked Choi. It looks that way. Lee stood up and looked at his crew. Well, there's only one way to find out the truth. We go inside. Park checked her equipment. Captain, the station has breathable air. The gravity is similar to Earth's. It's safe for humans. How convenient, said Lee with a small smile. They put on their spacesuits just to be safe and prepared to enter the station. As Lee opened the airlock, he wondered what they would find inside. Who had built this place? Why did they expect humans to come here? And what did it mean that Earth had a seat in a galactic government? The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Lights turned on automatically, showing a corridor that stretched into the distance. The walls were covered with strange symbols that seemed to glow with their own light. Lee stepped inside first. His boots made soft clicking sounds on the metal floor. The others followed behind him. Captain, whispered Park, look at this. On the wall next to the airlock was a plaque written in many languages. The Korean text read, Reserved for the representatives of Earth, third planet of Sol system, awaiting arrival. Below that, in smaller text, prepared 52,847 Earth years ago. Lee touched the plaque with his gloved hand. It was real. This was really happening. Come on, he said to his crew. Let's go find out why someone saved us a seat at the galactic table. They walked deeper into the station, not knowing that their discovery would change humanity's place in the universe forever. Captain Lee Tae-ho led his crew deeper into the massive space station. The corridors were wide and tall, built for beings much larger than humans. Strange blue lights glowed from the walls, showing the way forward. The air tasted clean and fresh, like mountain air on Earth. Captain, look at this, said Dr. Kim Woo-jin. He stood in front of a large doorway covered with symbols. These markings, they're giving me directions. You can read alien writing? Asked Engineer Choi Da-eun. Not exactly, Dr. Kim said. But somehow I understand what they mean. It's like the symbols are speaking directly to my mind. Park So-min checked her equipment. I'm getting strange readings from my scanner. It's like the station is scanning our brains. Is that dangerous? Lee asked. I don't think so, Park said. It feels gentle, like someone trying to learn our language so they can talk to us. The doorway opened as they approached. Inside was a room so large they could not see the other end. The ceiling stretched up higher than a skyscraper. Along the walls were thousands of glowing panels, each one showing different information. "It's a library," whispered Dr. Kim. "The biggest library in the universe." In the center of the room stood a tall pillar made of some kind of crystal. As they walked toward it, the crystal began to glow brighter. Suddenly, words appeared in the air above it. The words were in Korean, but they changed to English, then Chinese, then dozens of other languages. "Welcome, humans of Earth," the words said. "You have finally arrived. We are the archive of predecessors. We hold the history of all who came before you." Lee stepped forward. "Who are you? Who built this place?" New words appeared. "We were called the Builders. We lived in this galaxy millions of years before your species learned to make fire. We explored every star, met every form of life, and learned all there was to learn." "Where are you now?" asked Park. "Gone," came the answer. "But our knowledge remains. We saved everything for you." Dr. Kim was studying the glowing panels on the walls. "Captain, these contain information about thousands of different alien species. Their history, their technology, their cultures. This is incredible. Why did you save this for humans?" Lee asked the crystal. "Because you are special," the word said. "Other species think in straight lines. They follow rules. They do what is expected. But humans are different." "Different how?" asked Choi. "You are chaos," the crystal answered. "Beautiful, creative chaos. Where others see problems, you see possibilities. Where others follow paths, you make new paths. This is why we chose you." The room around them changed. The walls showed images of Earth from long ago. Humans living in caves, hunting with stone tools, painting on cave walls. 50,000 years ago, we came to your world, the crystal explained. We studied your people. Most species, when we found them, were already following predictable patterns. But humans were different. You surprised us every day. Lee watched the images. "What did you do to us?" "Nothing," the crystal said. "We simply watched and learned. We saw that humans had something special. You could adapt to anything. You could create new solutions to old problems. You could work together when you needed to, even when you were enemies." "But why leave all this for us?" asked Dr. Kim. "Because we were dying," the crystal replied. The images changed to show a vast alien civilization. Beautiful cities that floated in space, technology beyond human understanding. A great disaster was coming, something that would destroy our entire species. "What kind of disaster?" Park asked. "Death from the dark spaces between stars," the crystal said. "An enemy that consumes everything. We tried to fight it, but we were too set in our ways. We could not think of new solutions fast enough." The images showed the destruction of the Builder civilization, entire worlds disappearing into darkness. "Before we died, we made a plan," the crystal continued. "We built this station and others like it. We created a government for the species that would come after us, and we reserved a special place for humans." "Why didn't you just give us this technology back then?" asked Choi. "We could have helped you fight." "You were not ready," the crystal explained. "You needed time to grow, to learn, to become the species. We knew you could be. If we had given you our technology too early, you would have become like us. Predictable. Unable to think in new ways." Lee felt overwhelmed. "So you've been waiting 50,000 years for us to develop space travel?" "Yes. We knew that when humans finally reached the stars, they would be ready to take their place as leaders of the galaxy." "Leaders?" Park asked. "We just learned how to leave our solar system. Leadership is not about technology," the crystal said. "It is about seeing solutions that others cannot see. It is about bringing different groups together. It is about hope when others have given up. Dr. Kim was reading information from one of the wall panels. Captain, according to this, there are already dozens of alien species in our galaxy. They've been governing themselves for thousands of years. Without humans, the crystal confirmed. They have been waiting for you to claim your seat in the Galactic Assembly. What if we don't want to be leaders? Lee asked. Then the galaxy will remain as it is now, the crystal said. Divided, suspicious, unable to work together when the great danger returns. The same danger that destroyed your people? Asked Choi. Yes. It sleeps now in the darkness between galaxies. But it will return. And when it does, only humans will be able to unite the galaxy against it. Lee looked at his crew. They all seemed scared and excited at the same time. How do you know humans can do this? Because you are already doing it, the crystal said. Look at your own species. You come from different countries, different cultures, different beliefs. Yet here you are, working together to explore the stars. Other species cannot do this. They stay divided by their differences. The crystal showed them images of various alien species. Some looked like giant insects, others like living rocks, still others like beings made of pure energy. Each species is good at one thing, the crystal explained. The Zephyrians are great warriors. The Helix are master builders. The Andorak are wise judges. But none of them can work with the others for very long. They always return to old arguments and old hatreds. And you think humans can change that? Park asked. We know you can, the crystal said. Because humans see possibilities, not just problems. Because humans believe in hope, not just logic. Because humans are willing to try crazy ideas that just might work. Dr. Kim found something interesting on another panel. Captain, look at this. The builders left detailed instructions for human technology. Medicine that can cure any disease. Engines that can cross the galaxy in days. Weapons that can defend against any attack. But there's a catch, isn't there? Lee asked the crystal. Yes, the crystal admitted. To claim your inheritance, humans must first prove they are ready. You must take your seat in the Galactic Assembly and show the other species that you can lead them. What if they don't want us to lead? Asked Choi. Many will resist, the crystal said. They have been waiting for humans for so long that some have begun to doubt you will ever come. Others are jealous of the authority the builders gave you. Some may even try to stop you. Lee felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. So we have to convince dozens of alien species to follow humans they've never met? Not follow, the crystal corrected. Work with. The builders did not design humans to be dictators. They designed you to be unifiers, to help others see past their differences and work together. Park was studying her scanner. Captain, I'm detecting movement throughout the station. The whole place is coming online. The station is preparing, the crystal said. Word is already spreading across the galaxy that humans have finally arrived. Ships are coming from many worlds. Some bring welcome. Others bring challenges. Challenges? Lee asked. Not all species believe humans deserve the authority the builders gave them, the crystal explained. You will need to prove your worth through trials, tests of wisdom, courage, and leadership. Dr. Kim looked up from his research. Captain, according to these records, we have only 7 days before the Galactic Assembly meets to decide if humans can claim their seat. And if we fail the tests? Asked Choi. Then Earth's seat will be given to another species, the crystal said, and humans will never get this chance again. Lee took a deep breath. Then we better not fail. The crystal pulsed with brighter light. The trials will test everything that makes humans special. Your creativity, your ability to adapt, your willingness to sacrifice for others. Are you ready to speak for all of humanity? Lee looked at his small crew, then at the vast library of alien knowledge surrounding them. Somewhere out there, dozens of alien species were preparing to judge whether humans deserve to help lead the galaxy. We'll be ready, he said, hoping he was right. Captain Lee Tae-ho stood in the main hall of the space station. The room was enormous, bigger than any building on Earth. Hundreds of alien ships floated outside the massive windows. They had come from across the galaxy after learning that humans had finally arrived. "I've never seen so many different ship designs," said engineer Choi Da-eun. She was studying the alien vessels through her scanner. "Some look like living creatures. Others are just geometric shapes. That one over there looks like it's made of pure light." Dr. Kim Woo-jin was reading from the station's computer. "Captain, representatives from 47 different species are requesting permission to meet with us. The Galactic Assembly is calling an emergency session." "Emergency session?" asked Park So-min. "Yes," Dr. Kim said. "According to these records, the Assembly hasn't had a full meeting in over 200 years. Most species just send messages to each other. They rarely meet in person anymore." Lee felt nervous. In just a few hours, he would have to speak for all of humanity to dozens of alien species. "What do we know about these aliens?" "The station's computer is giving me information about each species," Dr. Kim said. "The Zephyrians are warriors. They value strength and honor above everything else. The Helix Confederation are master engineers who build perfect machines. The Andorak hegemony are ancient and wise, but they move very slowly when making decisions." "Any of them friendly to humans?" asked Choi. "Hard to say," Dr. Kim replied. "Most of them seem curious about us, but some are clearly upset. The Vorthon Empire sent a message saying humans are too young and dangerous to lead anything." Park checked her communication equipment. "Captain, I'm getting a priority message from Earth. World leaders want to speak with you immediately." Lee sighed. "Put them through." The main screen showed the United Earth Council chamber. Dozens of world leaders sat around a large table, all talking at once in different languages. "Captain Lee," said the Secretary General, "we need you to return to Earth immediately. This is too important for one ship to handle alone." "Sir," Lee said, "we have less than 7 days before the Assembly makes their decision. If we leave now, we might lose this chance forever." "That's exactly why you need to return," said the President of Korea. "We need to send our best diplomats, our top scientists, our military leaders. This is too big for just 5 people." Dr. Kim stepped forward. "Sir, with respect, the station's records are clear. The trials were designed specifically for the first humans to arrive. If we leave and send others, the Assembly might consider that a failure." "Trials?" asked the Secretary General. "What trials?" "The alien species want to test us," Lee explained, "to see if humans really deserve the authority the builders gave us. If we pass, Earth gets a permanent seat in the galactic government. If we fail, we get nothing," finished Park. The world leaders argued among themselves for several minutes. Finally, the Secretary General spoke again. "Captain, the Council has decided. You have full authority to speak for Earth, but we're sending backup. The fastest ships we have are already on their way to your location." "How long until they arrive?" Lee asked. 3 days, the Secretary General said. "Try to delay the trials until then." The connection ended. Lee looked at his crew. "Well, looks like we're Earth's representatives whether we want to be or not." Suddenly, the lights in the hall dimmed. A new voice spoke, but not through the station's computer. This voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Humans of Earth," the voice said, "I am Chancellor Vorth of the Andorak hegemony. I speak for the Galactic Assembly. Your arrival has been anticipated." The air in front of them shimmered and a figure appeared. It was tall and thin, made of what looked like living crystal. Light pulsed through its body in slow, hypnotic patterns. "Chancellor Vorth," Lee said, trying to sound confident. "We're honored to meet you." "The honor is questionable," Vorth replied. "For 50,000 years, Earth's seat has remained empty. Many species have requested the authority that was reserved for humans. We have been patient. We appreciate that patience," Lee said. "Patience has limits," Vorth said. "The Assembly has decided that humans must prove their worthiness through the ancient trials. If you succeed, Earth will take its place among us. If you fail, the seat will be offered to a more suitable species." Dr. Kim stepped forward. What do these trials involve? 3 tests, Forth explained. Combat, creation, and cooperation. Each test represents a fundamental requirement for galactic leadership. Combat? Asked Security Chief Kang Min-ho. He had been quiet until now, but the mention of fighting got his attention. Not physical combat, Forth clarified. Strategic thinking, military planning, the ability to protect those who cannot protect themselves. The Zephyrian Empire will oversee this trial. The creation trial tests your ability to solve problems through innovation, Forth continued. The Helix Confederation will judge your technological and engineering skills. And cooperation? Asked Lee. The most important trial, Forth said. You must solve a conflict that has divided 3 species for over 1,000 years. If you can bring peace where we have failed, you will prove that humans truly deserve to lead. Park frowned. What if we refuse to take the trials? Then you may return to Earth, Forth said. But you may never return to galactic space. And when the ancient enemy awakens, Earth will face it alone. Ancient enemy? Lee asked. The Builders spoke of it in their final messages, Forth said. A darkness that consumes worlds. It destroyed them, and it will return. The Builders believed only humans could unite the galaxy against this threat. Do you believe that? Asked Dr. Kim. I am uncertain, Forth admitted. Humans are young, chaotic, unpredictable. These are not traditionally considered leadership qualities. Maybe that's exactly what leadership needs, Lee said. Forth's crystal body pulsed with different colors. Perhaps that is what the trials will determine. When do we start? Asked Kang. Tomorrow, Forth said. But first, you should know that not all species support the Builder's decision. Some actively oppose it. As if summoned by his words, another figure appeared in the hall. This one was massive, covered in dark scales with eyes that glowed like fire. I am War Prime Kelthan of the Zephyrian Empire, the creature growled. I have come to observe these so-called trials. War Prime, Forth said carefully. The Assembly has agreed to honor the Builder's wishes. The Assembly may have agreed, Kelthan said, but that doesn't mean we like it. Humans are weak, small. They have no claws, no natural weapons, no protective shells. How can such soft creatures lead warriors? Lee felt anger rising in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. Strength isn't just about claws and teeth. No, Kelthan laughed, a sound like grinding rocks. Then show me, little human. Show me what makes your species so special that the Builders chose you over us. I will, Lee said. In the trials. Yes, Kelthan said. You will. And when you fail, the galaxy will see that humans are not the great leaders the Builders believed them to be. A third figure appeared, smaller than the others but somehow more intimidating. It looked like a mechanical spider made of silver and gold. I am Architect Prime Nexus of the Helix Confederation, it said in a voice like beautiful music. We have prepared a challenge that will test human creativity to its limits. What kind of challenge? Asked Choi. You will see, Nexus replied. But I will say this. In 3,000 years, no species has solved our puzzle. It requires thinking, in ways that most minds cannot achieve. Most minds, Lee repeated. But maybe not human minds. We shall see, Nexus said. The 3 alien leaders vanished, leaving the humans alone in the vast hall. Well, said Park, that was intimidating. They're trying to scare us, Kang said. Make us doubt ourselves before the trials even begin. Is it working? Asked Choi. Lee looked around at his crew. They were scared, but they were also determined. Maybe a little, but you know what? That's okay. Okay? Dr. Kim asked. Yeah, Lee said. Because being scared means we understand how important this is. The Builders didn't choose humans because we're fearless. They chose us because we try to do the right thing, even when we're afraid. So what do we do now? Asked Park. We prepare, Lee said. We study everything we can about these species and their challenges. And we remember something important. What's that? Asked Choi. Lee smiled. We're not just representing ourselves. We're representing every human who ever looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Every person who dreamed of exploring space. Every kid who wanted to meet aliens. No pressure, Park said with a weak smile. Actually, that's exactly right, Lee said. No pressure. We just need to be ourselves. Be human. Show them what that really means. Kang nodded. When do we start? Tomorrow, Lee said. But tonight we rest, because tomorrow we show the galaxy what humans can do. Outside the massive windows, alien ships continued to arrive. Soon, representatives from across the galaxy would watch as humanity fought for its place among the stars. The trials were about to begin. The first trial began at dawn. Captain Lee Tae-ho stood in a massive room filled with holographic displays. War Prime Kelthan of the Zephyrian Empire towered over him, his scaled face showing sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. Welcome to the combat trial, human, Kelthan growled. But do not worry. We will not ask you to fight with claws or teeth. This test is about strategy and leadership. Security Chief Kang Min-ho stepped forward. What do we have to do? Simple, Kelthan said. You must command a fleet in battle against our greatest military minds. You will have ships from 12 different species, each with different weapons and abilities. Your enemy will be myself and the finest Zephyrian commanders. The room around them changed, showing a three-dimensional map of space. Hundreds of small ships appeared, representing both fleets. Your fleet, Kelthan explained, pointing to one group of ships. Each species fights differently. The Andorak ships are slow but heavily armored. The Helix ships are fast but fragile. The Vorthan ships have powerful weapons but poor shields. Kang studied the display. How do we win? Destroy my command ship, Kelthan said. But be warned. I have been fighting battles for 300 years. I have never lost. Never? Asked Lee. Never, Kelthan confirmed. Are you ready? Kang looked at Lee, who nodded. We're ready. The battle began immediately. Kelthan's ships moved in perfect formation, attacking with precise timing. His strategy was flawless, based on centuries of experience. But Kang did something unexpected. Instead of trying to match Kelthan's perfect formations, he split his mixed fleet into small groups. Each group had ships from different species working together. What are you doing? Kelthan demanded. Your ships are scattered. They cannot support each other, can't they? Kang asked. The small mixed groups began attacking Kelthan's fleet from all directions at once. The slow Andorak ships provided cover, while the fast Helix ships struck and retreated. The Vorthan ships used their powerful weapons to break through enemy defenses. Kelthan's perfect formations began to fall apart. His ships were designed to fight as one unified force, but they couldn't handle attacks coming from everywhere at once. Impossible, Kelthan muttered. This strategy should not work. Maybe not for your species, Kang said. But humans are used to working with people who are different from us. We know how to make different strengths work together. Within an hour, Kang's scattered fleet had surrounded Kelthan's command ship. The Zephyrian War Prime stared at the display in shock. I have been defeated, he said slowly. By a species I thought was weak. We're not weak, Lee said. We're just different. Kelthan's attitude changed completely. Yes, he said with respect. You are very different. The builders chose, well. The second trial took place in a giant workshop filled with alien technology. Architect Prime Nexus led them to a strange machine covered in blinking lights and spinning parts. This is the great problem, Nexus explained in its musical voice. For 3,000 years, the greatest minds in the galaxy have tried to solve it. The machine has parts from 40 different species, but they will not work together. The technologies are incompatible. Engineer Choi Da-un examined the machine carefully. What's it supposed to do? Create unlimited clean energy, Nexus said. Each part produces power, but they interfere with each other. Perfect efficiency requires perfect harmony between all systems. Choi spent hours studying the machine. Every time she tried to connect two systems, they would reject each other. The alien technologies were too different to work together. Dr. Kim Woo-jin joined her, analyzing the energy patterns. Choi, what if we're thinking about this wrong? What do you mean? Everyone has been trying to make these systems work in harmony, Dr. Kim said. But what if they're not supposed to work in harmony? What if they're supposed to work in controlled conflict? Choi's eyes widened. Controlled conflict? Like an argument where everyone learned something new. She began rewiring the machine, but not to eliminate the conflicts between systems. Instead, she created a pattern where each system would argue with the others, forcing them all to adapt and improve. This is madness, Nexus said. Conflict creates inefficiency. Not always, Choi replied. Sometimes conflict creates innovation. She activated the machine. Instead of the smooth harmony that everyone expected, the systems fought against each other. But in their fighting, they began to learn. Each system adapted to work around the others, creating new solutions that none of them could achieve alone. The machine's energy output grew higher and higher, far beyond what any single system could produce. Impossible, Nexus whispered. The efficiency rating it's beyond theoretical maximum. That's what happens when different ideas compete and cooperate at the same time, Choi said. Humans do this all the time. We argue, we fight, but we also learn from each other. Nexus studied the machine's readings. Magnificent, chaotic, illogical, but magnificent. The builders were correct about human innovation. The third trial was the most difficult. Chancellor Vorth led them to a conference room where representatives of 3 alien species sat at separate tables, glaring at each other with obvious hatred. The Korthak, the Melody, and the Zenth, Vorth explained. They have been at war for over 1,000 years. The conflict began over mining rights to a single asteroid, but it has grown into hatred that spans generations. Ambassador Song Hye-jin, who had been promoted to speak for Earth, studied the 3 groups. The Korthak looked like giant insects, with mandibles that clicked constantly. The Melody resembled singing crystals that chimed when they spoke. The Zenth were cloud-like beings that floated in containment suits. They refused to speak to each other. Vorth continued. Many mediators have tried to create peace. All have failed. What do they want? Song asked. The same thing, Vorth said. They all want the asteroid, but there is only one asteroid. Song talked to each group separately. The Korthak needed the asteroid's metals to build homes for their growing population. The Melody needed its crystals to create music that kept their culture alive. The Zenth needed its gases to breathe in their new colony. They all have legitimate needs, Song told her team. But they're so focused on fighting each other that they can't see solutions. What kind of solutions? Lee asked. Song smiled. Human solutions. She called all 3 groups together, despite their protests. You're all fighting over one asteroid, she said. But why limit yourselves to one asteroid? Because it is the only asteroid with what we need, clicked the Korthak leader. Is it? Song asked. Or is it just the only asteroid you've found so far? She showed them star charts from the station's database. There are thousands of asteroids in this system. Hundreds of them have the materials you need. But we found this one first, chimed the Melody representative. And you've been fighting over it for 1,000 years instead of looking for others, Song said. What if, instead of fighting, you worked together to find asteroids for everyone? Work together? The Zenth's voice was like wind through caves. With them? Impossible. Why impossible? Song asked. The Korthak are good at mining. The Melody are good at scanning for crystals. The Zenth are good at moving through space. Together, you could find more resources in 1 year than any of you could find alone in a century. The 3 species looked at each other suspiciously. Furthermore, Song continued, what if you could trade with each other? The Korthak could build ships for the Melody. The Melody could create navigation music for the Zenth. The Zenth could provide atmosphere processing for the Korthak. Trade? The Korthak leader clicked. We have never considered trade. Because you've been too busy fighting, Song said. But cooperation creates wealth. War only creates poverty. It took hours of discussion, but slowly, the three species began to see the possibilities. They agreed to a trial partnership to search for new asteroids together. Remarkable, Forth said later. In one day, you solved a conflict that has raged for a millennium. We didn't solve it, Song said. We just helped them see past it. That evening, the Galactic Assembly gathered to hear the trial results. Representatives from dozens of species filled the Great Hall. Chancellor Vorth stood at the center, his crystal body glowing with formal light. The trials are complete, he announced. The humans have demonstrated strategic innovation in the combat trial. They have shown technological creativity in the creation trial. They have achieved diplomatic breakthrough in the cooperation trial. War Prime Kelthan stepped forward. I came here believing humans were too weak to lead. I was wrong. They have shown me new ways to think about strength. Architect Prime Nexus spoke next. I believed perfection required order. The humans have shown me that perfection can emerge from controlled chaos. And I have seen, Forth said, that humans possess the one quality we have lost, the ability to see possibilities where others see only problems. The hall was silent for a long moment. Therefore, Forth announced, by the authority granted by the builders and confirmed by these trials, Earth is granted its seat in the Galactic Assembly. Humans will take their place as mediators and guides for our galactic community. Cheers erupted from some species while others remained silent. Lee knew this was just the beginning. Earning the seat was one thing. Keeping it would be much harder. But, for now, humanity had taken its first step toward the stars. 6 months had passed since humanity claimed their seat in the Galactic Assembly. Ambassador Song Hye-jin now lived permanently on the Great Space Station, working with alien species every day. The job was harder than anyone had imagined. The Vorthan Empire is threatening to leave the Assembly, Song told Captain Lee Tae-ho during their weekly meeting. They say humans make too many changes too quickly. Lee studied the reports on his screen. What kind of changes? Trade agreements between former enemies, joint exploration missions, shared technology projects. Song rubbed her tired eyes. Everything we think is good, they think is dangerous. Because change scares them, said Dr. Kim Woo-jin. He had become the Assembly's chief researcher, studying alien cultures to help humans understand their new partners. These species have been doing things the same way for thousands of years. And now we come along and suggest they try new approaches, Lee said. I can understand why that would be frightening. Engineer Choi Da-yoon entered the meeting room carrying a datapad filled with technical reports. It's not just politics, she said. I've been working with alien engineers to design new ships and weapons. Some species don't want to share their technology with others. Even to make everyone stronger? Asked Lee. Especially to make everyone stronger, Choi replied. They're afraid that if everyone has the same level of technology, they'll lose their advantages. Park So-min looked up from her communication station. I'm getting reports from across the galaxy. 3 more minor species have asked to join the Assembly since we arrived, but 2 major species are considering leaving. Which ones? Song asked. The Helix Confederation and the Zenth Collective, Park replied. They say the Assembly is becoming too chaotic under human influence. Lee felt frustrated. We're trying to help everyone work together better. Why is that a problem? Because working together means giving up some control, said a new voice from the doorway. Everyone turned to see Chancellor Vorth entering the room. His crystal body was pulsing with colors they had learned meant worry. Chancellor, Song said, standing up. What brings you here? Disturbing news, Vorth replied. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected movement in the void between galaxies. The ancient enemy is stirring. The room became very quiet. Everyone had read the builder records about the force that had destroyed that ancient civilization. How long do we have? Lee asked. Difficult to say, Vorth answered. The enemy moves slowly across the great distances between galaxies. Perhaps 10 years, perhaps 5. But they are definitely coming. Then we need to unite the galaxy now. Song said. Get every species working together to prepare defenses. That is the problem, Vorth said. Unity requires trust. Trust requires time. And time is what we may not have. Dr. Kim was reading through the Builder archives on his datapad. According to these records, the enemy is called the Entropy Swarm. They're not really alive, but they're not just machines either. They consume energy from stars and planets, growing stronger with everything they devour. How did they defeat the Builders? Asked Choi. By being unpredictable, Dr. Kim said. The Builders tried to fight them with logic and perfect strategy, but the swarm adapted to every tactic. They learned to counter every weapon. So perfect strategy didn't work, Lee said thoughtfully. What about imperfect strategy? What do you mean? Vorth asked. The Builders failed because they were too predictable, Lee explained. But humans are chaotic. We do unexpected things. Maybe that's exactly what we need to fight something that adapts to logical attacks. Park's communication equipment began beeping urgently. Captain, I'm getting an emergency signal from Earth. Admiral Chen wants to speak with you immediately. The main screen activated, showing Earth's top military commander. Admiral Chen looked tired and worried. Captain Lee, the Admiral said, our deep space telescopes have confirmed what you've reported. We're detecting massive energy signatures moving toward our galaxy. Earth's governments have agreed to accelerate our space fleet construction. How many ships can you build? Lee asked. If we convert all our manufacturing, maybe 100 ships in 5 years, the Admiral replied. But according to your reports, we'll be facing thousands of enemy vessels. That's why we need the other species, Song said. Together we can field fleets large enough to make a difference. About that, the Admiral said grimly, we've been monitoring galactic communications. It sounds like half the galaxy wants to abandon the assembly and handle this threat on their own. Vorth's crystal body darkened. Yes, many species believe they can hide from the swarm or negotiate with it. They do not understand that the swarm does not negotiate. It only consumes. Then we have to convince them, Lee said. Show them that cooperation is their only chance for survival. How? Asked Choi. We've only been in space for 6 months. They've been spacefaring for thousands of years. Why should they listen to us? Because we're not asking them to follow us, Lee said. We're asking them to follow their own best interests. Park interrupted. Captain, I'm getting reports of fleet movements throughout the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire is mobilizing their battle groups. The Helix Confederation is fortifying their home systems. Everyone is preparing for war, but they're all preparing separately. Separately, they'll fail, Vorth said. The Builders were the most advanced species in galactic history, and they fell because they could not adapt fast enough. No single species can stand against the swarm. Lee stood up and walked to the large window overlooking space. Hundreds of alien ships were visible, representatives from dozens of species. But instead of working together, most of them were suspicious of each other. What if we're thinking about this wrong? He said suddenly. Wrong how? Song asked. We're trying to convince everyone to trust each other, Lee said. But trust takes time and we don't have time. What if we don't need trust? What if we just need cooperation? They're the same thing, Vorth said. No, they're not, Lee replied. Trust means believing someone won't hurt you. Cooperation means working together even when you don't fully trust each other. Dr. Kim looked up from his research. Like how countries on Earth cooperate during natural disasters, even if they're enemies the rest of the time. Exactly, Lee said. The entropy swarm is a natural disaster on a galactic scale. Every species wants to survive, even if they don't like each other. But how do we organize cooperation without trust? Asked Choi. Lee smiled. By making it profitable. Every species gets something they want, but only if they work with others. Song began to understand. A mutual benefit system. The Zephyrians get to lead military operations. The Helix get to design new technologies. The Andorak get to coordinate strategies. And humans? Vorth asked. Humans get to do what we do best, Lee said. See the big picture and help everyone else see it too. Over the next several days, Lee and his team worked with representatives from every major species. Instead of asking them to trust each other, they created a survival plan where each species contributed their strengths while maintaining their independence. The Zephyrians would lead the military fleets, but they would use ships and weapons designed by multiple species. The Helix would coordinate manufacturing, but they would share their technology in exchange for resources from other worlds. The Andorak would plan long-term strategy, but they would include input from younger, more adaptable species. It's not perfect, Song admitted to Lee. There's still a lot of suspicion and competition. Perfect is the enemy of good enough, Lee replied. We don't need a perfect alliance. We just need an effective one. The test came sooner than expected. 6 months later, the first Entropy swarm scouts arrived at the galaxy's edge. They were unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Massive crystalline structures that seemed to bend space around them as they moved. The joint galactic fleet met them at the Kepler's Edge system. Ships from 20 different species fought side by side for the first time in galactic history. The battle was chaotic, with each species using different tactics and weapons, but the chaos worked. The swarm scouts, designed to counter logical and predictable attacks, couldn't adapt to the wild mixture of fighting styles. Zephyrian aggression, Helix precision, Andorak patience, and human improvisation created a combination that confused and overwhelmed the enemy. It's working, Choi reported from the engineering station. The swarm can't predict what we'll do next because we don't know what we'll do next ourselves. The scouts were destroyed, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. The main swarm was still coming, and it would be much larger and more dangerous. How long until the main force arrives? Lee asked Dr. Kim. 3 years, Dr. Kim replied. Maybe 4. Then we have time to prepare, Song said. Time to build more ships, train more crews, develop new weapons. And time to turn this temporary cooperation into something permanent, Lee added. Vorth approached them, his crystal body glowing with colors they had learned meant satisfaction. The Assembly has voted, he announced. By unanimous decision, the Galactic Defense Alliance is now permanent. Earth will serve as the coordinating center. Unanimous? Song asked in surprise. Yes, Vorth said. Even the species that wanted to leave the Assembly have agreed to stay. Survival is a powerful motivator. Lee looked out at the stars, thinking about how much had changed since they